Section, called the Western section, analyzes each of the rasas, major primary rasas, the 5 primary rasas, in terms of all these elements: vibhava, anubhava, sattvika bhava, vyabhachari bhava, and sthayi bhava. So that's the general pattern that is followed here. And therefore, Rupa Goswami starts with Shanta rasa. Bring that up here. Okay. Okay, I've got it up. Yeah, Shanta rasa. So in this Western section, there are 5 parts. The 5 primary rasas: Shanta rasa, Dasya rasa, Sakya rasa, Vatsalya rasa, and Madhurya rasa. Each are described in terms of those 5 elements, vibhava, etc. So, first the definition of Shanta rasa. So rasa, of course, is the combination of the 5 elements. And then we have, first one is called Shanta rasa. If the sthayi bhava, called Shanta rati, mixes with the elements of vibhava and others which will now be described, and is relished by persons possessing sama, the wise call this Shanta bhakti rasa. So the sthayi bhava is Shanta rati. So in that previous section, Rupa Goswami described 3 types of what is called Sudarati or Shantarati: Samanya, Svacha, and Shanti. The first 2, Samanya and Svacha, don't produce rasa. They don't combine with the other elements to produce a rasa. So only that last one, called Shanti Rati, produces the rasa. So, for instance, the Svacha was described as persons who cultivate a little taste for all the rasas, and sometimes they may express Madhurya, and sometimes Sakya, or sometimes Vatsalya, or Dasya, or Shanta, or whatever. That's a very weak type of thing, for that never turns into a permanent rasa. And Samanya was like the small children, I believe. But the Shanta Rati, which was cultivated by persons who had mixed jnana, so to speak, they can develop into a rasa. So Samanya, Sudarati, and the components of rasa cannot be nourished, since Samanya, Sudarati is undeveloped or weak. And in Svacharati, the components of rasa, such as vibhava and anubhava, cannot be nourished, since the Sudarati is unstable in nature. It keeps changing. They don't change it to anything definite. Even Shanta rasa. Okay. Those who were Shanta Bhaktas, or the yogis, previously experienced the bliss of Brahman and Samadhi as Gyanis, which has the nature of bliss for the self, Atmaramas. Now, at the time of experiencing Rati, they will have intense happiness through the appearance of the Lord's form as Satchidananda, or Isha, in the Isha mind. They will not attain the type of unlimited happiness of the devotees with dasa and other rasas. However, their bliss is greater than that of the impersonalists, since the bliss of realizing the Lord with qualities is more concentrated than the bliss from realizing Atma. Right? So they get to this stage because they were previously Gyanis, and they got some samadhi or Brahman by which they realize Atma. But they went a step further than the impersonalists, and they managed to see the Lord's form. But they're also influenced by that previous experience of Brahman or Atma. So therefore the Lord can be experienced, but it's not so strong, so it's a limited type of bliss that comes out of that. So they realize the Lord's Satchidananda form, but it doesn't. That Ananda does not develop to a greater degree. So therefore, this rasa is put at the bottom of the 5 primary rasas. Nevertheless, it has a mixture of the different elements, so it's called rasa. The main cause of Shanta Rasa arises in these persons, arising in these persons, is realization of the form of the Lord. The main cause of Dasya and other rasas appearing in the devotees is appreciation of the Lord's attractive pastimes. So they don't really appreciate the pastimes, they just see the form of that Lord who is Satchidananda, and they develop a little bliss from that. So Prabhupada also calls this Shanta Rasa is neutral, with minimum of service, because they don't appreciate the active nature of the Lord responding to the devotees. So neutral type of rasa. Okay. So we had the vibhava. That's the first element, and it has alambana and udipana. So alambana refers to the asraya and vishaya, the object of the love, and then the devotee. So the vishaya here in the alambana is the form of the Lord, and the other part is the asraya, the devotees, the Shanta bhaktas who were previously Gyanis, whatever. And this form is usually a form of Vishnu, something like Paramatma. So the alambana of Vishaya and Shanta Rasa is the Lord with an eternal form of knowledge and bliss, most attractive to the Atmaramas. He is the Paramatma, the Param Brahma, free of all passions, tolerant, pure, sense control, eternally fixed in spiritual form, who rewards even the enemies he kills, who is greater than the whole universe. So it's a very general appreciation of the Lord and his powerful aspect, all-pervading aspect. At the same time, he's very pure and beyond material energy, and he's got a form. So that's the positive aspect, form, and they recognize the Lord's position. So that's the object of love for this type of devotee. And who is the devotee? Atmaramas, who have attained rati for Krishna due to the mercy of Krishna and his dear devotees. Sages, headed by Sanaka and Sananda. These are like Atmaramas. Kumaras. Performer of austerities, who have developed firm faith in the path of bhakti. So we have persons who were probably Gyanis who got to the Atmarama stage, and then we have persons who did austerities, tapasvis. But they also developed, due to mercy of devotees, they've come to the path of bhakti. So, this is a little description of the performers of austerities. The practitioners of austerity are those who worship the Lord while practicing yukta vairagya without giving up the desire for liberation, since obstacles to bhakti are destroyed by attaining liberation. They haven't given up the desire for liberation, and therefore this creates an obstacle to going any higher. Though they have a desire for liberation, this does not destroy pure bhakti, because they desire liberation from samsara for destroying lust and anger, not for merging into the Lord. Moreover, they worship with a desire for liberation at the first stage only. So that desire for liberation may be there, but it's not so strong that they can give it up also. And nevertheless, they realize the Lord and they appreciate the Lord. So their desire for liberation is only to escape from the material world and not to merge in the Lord. What are the udipanas? This is the other aspect of vibhava. It was alambana and udipana. Alright, so this is the udipana aspect. So in Shantarasa, one of the udipanas is hearing Upanishads, principal Upanishads, which talk about Supreme Brahman, etc. Living in a solitary place, the appearance of pure mental functions, their mind and intelligence and become pure. Contemplating the truth, putting emphasis on jnana shakti, or power of knowledge, austerity, etc. Visualizing the universal form, associating with Gyan or Bhaktas, discussing the Upanishads with similar persons. So, in this way, we see the stimuli for this type of love is not the pastimes of the Lord, and not even the aspects of the form of the Lord, but more or less just things related to jnana and vairagya. The incomparable fragrance of the tulsi at the feet of the Lord, the sound of the Lord's conch, holy mountains, holy forests, holy places, the Ganga, the temporary nature of things of this world, the power of time to destroy everything, are stimuli common for the Dasya Bhaktas as well as the Shanta Bhaktas. So, at least we have some stimuli related to the Lord, like the tulsi leaf and the sound of the Lord's conch. So after Vibhava, we have Anubhavas. So this is the Anubhavas, are the activities of the particular devotee in relation to the Supreme Lord. Staring at the tip of the nose, behaving like a renunciate, walking while looking 4 meters in front of the ground, showing the Jnana Mudra. That's this one. Absence of hatred even towards the enemies of the Lord, lack of intense attachment to the devotees of the Lord, showing great regard for the final destruction of material bondage, and living without the influence of gross and subtle bodies, indifference, non-possessiveness, lack of false ego, silence. These are some of the special anubhavas of persons with Shanta Rasa. So their actions are rather general, not particularly related to serving the Lord. Like we see one of the anubhavas of Sakya-rasa is wrestling with the Lord, or in Vatsalya-rasa cooking for Krishna, but here it's not such things. It's all general type of things related to austerity and jnana, etc. Yawning, stretching the body, giving instructions to devotees, offering obeisance to the Lord, and reciting prayers to the Lord. So these are the last ones we see are related to the Lord. Offering obeisance to the Lord, reciting praises of the Lord, giving instructions to the devotees. So these are a little more particular about the Lord, but again, very general. So we can say the anubhavas are not of too much variety. Sattvika bhavas were the unconscious, involuntary actions that manifest in the body. So in Shanta Rasa, all the Sattvika bhavas, such as standing of hair on end, perspiration, shaking of the body, occur. However, fainting or pralaya with falling on the ground does not occur. So everything except fainting. So 7 of the 8 Sattvika bhavas manifest in this person. But we'll see that it's also quite weak. There were different stages of Sattvika bhavas. So we had the Dhumayat, who was very, very weak. And then we get the next stage, Jwalita. 2 or 3 Sattvika bhavas appear at once, but with difficulty they can be concealed. So they get up to the second stage of Sattvika bhavas. So some ecstatic symptoms, but not so strong. We see the Kumaras when they went to Vaikuntha to meet the Supreme Lord, then they smelled the tulsi leaves of the Lord, and then they started quivering. The body started quivering, started trembling. So that's the Sattvika bhava that resulted from tulsi leaves of the Lord. Vyabhachari bhavas, these are the minor emotions. Nirveda, which means indifference to material things. Driti, which means perseverance. Harsha is joy. Mati is contemplation. Smriti is remembrance. Vishada means lamentation. They're lamenting their previous material life. Autsukya, enthusiasm. Avega, disturbance. And vitarka, questioning. Or some of those things. Sthayi bhava is called shantarati, which was previously described. So it has two levels, sama and sandra, ordinary and intense. Here there is bliss, but compared to, let's say, impersonal Brahman bliss or whatever, it's much greater because there's realization of the Supreme Lord involved in it. So as with the other rasas that are established, we get the two types of, the two forms, in separation and in meeting the Lord. So the separation in this Shanta rasa is called poroksha, which means the Lord's no longer visible. And then satyakarma means a direct meeting. So these are the two aspects of Shanta rasa. And when there's not visible, then the devotee is not so happy, and in satyakarma he gets very, very blissful. Like we have in Madhurya rasa, we got separation, vipralamba, intense distress, and then we get meeting with the Lord, sambhoga, very great happiness. So we get a little bit like that in Shanta rasa, also separation and meeting the Lord, but it's not a minor, weaker form. If Krishna is merciful to someone previously fixed in jnana, that means they were impersonalists, then that Shanta Bhakta then becomes elevated in rati for Krishna. So first of all, they're at the stage of jnana, then by the mercy of devotees in Krishna, they get to Shanta rati for Krishna. This is a quote from Bilva Mangal Thakur. Though I was respected by the followers of Jnana and was worshipped by them on the throne of realizing the bliss of Brahman, forcibly I was made into a female servant or dasi by the crafty boyfriend of the cowherd women. So the person can go beyond Jnana and get to Shanta rasa or whatever. As in the case of Sukadev, who was an Atmarama to begin with, impressions of jnana will slacken by the mercy of the Lord, and the person will attain the perfection of bliss in bhakti rasa. So, in the case of Sukadev, of course, he went beyond Shanta rasa. So you can go beyond Shanta rasa also. So that's the section on Shantarati, and then we'll go to this one, Priti Bhakti Rasa or Dasya Rasa. When Priti or adoration achieves a pleasurable nature by Vibhavas, Anubhavas, Sattvika Bhavas, and Vyabhachari Bhavas in the hearts of devotees, it is called Priti Bhakti Rasa, which we generally call Dasya, but it has several forms. When the recipient of mercy, that's a devotee, acts as a servant, it is called Sambrahma Priti, and the recipient identifies himself as the object of parental. And when the recipient identifies himself as the object of parental affections, it's called Gaurava Priti. So we got two types, Sambrahma and Gaurava. And then we get this is the normal one we think of Dasya, that's the one with great reverence. So it's called Sambrahma Priti Rasa. And here, what is the alambana? The Lord, of course, and we get the servants of the Lord. And so that becomes dasya. Huh? The two-armed form of Krishna is the alambana from the inhabitants of Gokul, and the two-armed or four-armed form of Krishna is the alambana for the devotees of Krishna residing elsewhere, such as Dwarka or Mathura, two or four-armed. The servants, the dastas, are well behaved, always ready to follow the order of the Lord. They have full faith in Him and have a sense of humility while recognizing He is their master. So they're in the position of servant, Krishna is in the position of master, and they act with great humility and they follow His order. That's the nature of servitude. Huh? So these are the dasas, or servants. And then we have different types of servants. Huh? Adhikrita, Asrita, Parishads, and Anugas. Adhikrita, which means empowered, more or less. So this refers to the Devatas. Brahma, Shankara, Shiva, Indra, and others are called Adhikrita, appointed. Then Asritas, which means those who take shelter of the Lord. Three types. Those who have surrendered to the Lord as their protector, Saranya. Those who were previously Gyanis, Gyani Chara, but later understood the superiority of the form and qualities of the Lord. And those who are fixed in services, Seva Nishta. They appreciate the Lord's sweetness. Huh? So here we see that even Gyanis can get beyond Shanta and they can get up to Daska. So that's the three types. Now, just to explain them a little bit, we have Sharanya. So that means those who have surrendered. So Kaliya is an example of that. He surrendered to the Lord and he's got this humble attitude. And when the kings who were kept in Jarasandra's prison, they surrendered to the Lord also. And so they're called Saranyas. The Gyanicharas, these are the people who had practiced jnana. Sages headed by Shonaka, who gave up the desire for liberation, surrendered to the Lord, are called Gyanicharas by the wise. And then we have Sevanishta, those fixed in service. Those who from the beginning are attached to serving the Lord are called Sevanishta, fixed in service. Examples are Chandradvaja, Shiva, Indra, King Bahulasva, Ikshvaku, Srutadev, and Pundarika. And we get the Parishads, which means followers of the Lord. In Dwarka, Uddhava, Daruka, Satyaki, Srutadev, Satyajit, Nanda, Upananda, and Bhadra are known as Parishadas, the members of the assembly or followers. The Parishadas always look most splendid with charming forms, with yellow dress like the Lord, with radiance that defeats the Devatas, and with profuse ornaments. Among these Parishads, Uddhava, controlled by Prema, is the best. So they're all in this dasya mood, but they're quite intimately associated with the Lord as his followers or associates. Anugas. Those whose hearts are at all times attracted to attending upon the Lord are called Anugadasas, or attendants. There are two types, those in Dwarka and those in Vraja. Suchandra, Mandana, Stamba, Sutamba are some of the Anugas in Dwarka. Their form and ornaments are almost the same as those of the Parishadas. Mandana holds an umbrella with a gold handle over Krishna's head. Suchandra fans him with a white chamara. Sutamba offers betel nut, and in this way the devotees serve Madhava. So Anugas are people who do regular service for the Lord, like fanning him, etc. Raktaka, Patraka, Patri, Madhukanta, Madhuvrata, Rasala, Suvilasa, Premakanda, Marandaka, Ananda, Chandrahasa, Payoda, Bakula, Rasada, and Sharada are some of the Anugas in Vraja. Among the Anugas in Vraja, Raktaka is the chief. So we have Dasya in the form of Anugas in Vrindavan, and these are a whole list of the Anugas. So these are little servants, Krishna's little servant boys. They go around serving Krishna, carrying things for him or batting him or whatever like that. So in Dasya. We generally don't hear about that too much. You see Sakya and things like that. But there are some people, some boys in Dasya Rasa also, like Raktaka, who is the most famous of them. And they're dedicated to serving Krishna. So these are Anugas within the Dasya category. So among the Asratas, Parishads, and Anugas, there are Nityasiddhas, Sadhana-siddhas, and Sadhakas. So some of these are Nityasiddhas, but some of them can be, they have attained that position through sadhana, and some are practicing to get to that level. So these are the different, say, asrayas of bhakti. And the Lord is the Vishaya. So that was Vibhava. Udipanas. Krishna's mercy, attaining his foot dust or food remnants. Associated with Krishna's devotees are some of the unique udipanas of this rasa. The sound of his flute and horn, his glance with a slight smile, hearing the excellence of his qualities, the lotus, the marks on his feet, new clouds, and the fragrance of his body are considered to be regular udipanas. We saw some of these for the Shanta Rasa, hearing the conch shell was one, so those are more general. And then we have the particular ones like eating Krishna's food or taking his foot dust, etc. So for the dasas, these become great stimuli. Anubhavas, the conscious actions. Being completely involved in serving according to one's capacity, that's service. Friendship with the Lord's servants, with absence of even a trace of envy on seeing the excellence of others' service, which means that there's friendly relationships with other servants but no envy involved, and being fixed in their love, which are all considered sita. These are the cool ones, not so active. These are the special anubhavas of the dasas. Sattvika bhavas. These are the involuntary actions. It is said that all the sattvika bhavas, starting with stamba, appear in priti or dasya rasa, preya, sakya, and madhurya rasa. So Shanta didn't have pralaya or fainting, I think. But here we have all the sattvika bhavas manifested in dasya, sakya, and madhurya rasa. Vyabhichari bhavas. This is of course technical. 24. There are 33 Vyabhichari bhavas. 24 appear in this dasya rasa. Harsha, Garva, Driti, Nirved, Vishada, Dainya, Chinta, Smriti, Shanka, Matti, Autsokya, Chapalata, Vitarka, Avega, Kri, Jadyam, Moha, Unmada, Avahita, Bodha, Swapna, Klama or Glani, Vyadi, and Mati. So the ones that don't appear are Mada, Shrama, Trasa, Apasmara, Alasa, Ugrata, Krodha, Asuya, Nidra. Why? Because they can never have anger in relation to the Lord. They're always dasas, they never get angry at Krishna. Asuya, no envy. Even among themselves there's no envy. So they appreciate everybody's service. Nidra means sleep, so they don't go to sleep. They're always very active trying to serve Krishna. Ugrata means ferocity, so they don't display that. Alasya means laziness. They're never lazy because they always want to serve. Apasmara means epilepsy kind of thing, so they don't that'll disturb their service. Trasa means fright, and they also don't show fright. Shrama means tiredness, so they don't become tired. and mada, which means intoxication. So these are the things that obstruct their service. They don't manifest in. Sthayi bhava, okay, which was the main relationship, which we call dasya or whatever, or sambrama priti, I think we call it here, with these different varieties. Eagerness to execute service with respect and trembling with eagerness because of knowledge of the Lord's greatness is the quality of sambrama. Priti combined with sambrama is called sambrama priti. The learned call this sambrama priti the sthayi bhava priti rasa, which means affection with great reverence. That's the definition of the sthayi bhava. And it goes from rati to prema to sneha and raga. There's various stages, and here we go up to finally some of the servants get up to raga, which is quite elevated and intense. When sambrama priti becomes firmly fixed with no doubt that it will decrease, it is called prema. The anubhavas are such things as complete attachment to the Lord. Then if it gets more intense, it's called sneha. When prema becomes extremely thick in the heart and mouths, it's called sneha. In this state one cannot tolerate even a moment's separation from the Lord. So the dasas, some of them get to this level. And then raga. That sneha which turns sorrow into happiness by a slight appearance of Krishna is called raga. In this state of raga, the devotee will do anything for the pleasure of Krishna, even giving up his life. So it gets to that intense level. The sambrama priti manifests as prema in the adhikritas, that's the devatas, like Shiva and Brahma, etc. And asartas, those who surrendered to the Lord. And in the parishadas, the followers of the assembly. It gets to prema. It manifests as sneha. In the parishads it gets up to sneha. And in pariksha, daruka, and uddhava, who are parishads, it manifests as raga. So in other words, raga is a little bit rare, and only some of the people get up to that stage of raga. That's pariksha, daruka, and uddhava. And the anugas also can manifest raga. That's the intimate associates. When raga appears in many anugas in Vraja, such as raktaka, the dasya bhava becomes mixed with sakya. So then dasya also can become a little bit of mixture with sakya rasa, a more friendly relationship when it becomes very intense. And that's particularly in Vrindavan. So as with Shanta Rasa, we had the separation type where it was called paroksha, invisibility, and then sakshatkar, meeting. So in this priti rasa or dasya, we got ayoga, separation, and yoga, meeting. The desire to see the Lord when the devotee has not seen him at all is called udkantatam, which means eagerness to see him. So in other words, there's a separation from the Lord without having met him once, and then separation after meeting. So that's called purva raga in Madhurya Rasa, before meeting him, and then afterwards there's a regular separation called vipralamba. So here it's called, before seeing him, it's called ukantitam. When one attains the association of the Lord and then becomes separated from it, it's called viyoga. So therefore we have two types of ayoga, that is udkantitam and viyoga. And so, meeting is called yoga. And then we have three types of yoga: siddhi, tushti, and sthiti. First meeting, meeting after separation, and then eternally with the Lord forever. That's sthiti. Tushti is meeting after separation. Siddhi is the first meeting with the Lord. So that's dasya. So it was described there was two types of this Sthayi Bhava, the Sambrahma, which is the great awe and reverence. So we have another type that's called the Gaurava, not Gaura, Gaurava Priti Rasa. Affection for Krishna by those who identify themselves as his objects of indulgence are called Gauravuttara. When this affection is nourished by elements starting with Vibhava, it's called Gaurava Priti Rasa. So basically it means the sons of Krishna and Dwarka. They are the objects of his affection. So the Vishaya is the Lord, and the sons or younger brothers and sisters are the Asraya. So they feel that Krishna is their elder and he's protecting them, etc. And caring for them like a parent. Those who think they are the younger brothers or sisters, or that they are his sons, are the Asrayas of this rasa. Among them, Sharana, Gada, Subhadra are the chief younger brothers and sisters, and Pradumna, Charadeshnu, and Samba are his sons. So they are called Lalya. They are cared for, caressed by Krishna, the sons particularly. And of these, Rukmini's son Pradumna is the chief. Though both the servants and the Lalyas worship Krishna constantly as the most worthy person of worship, awareness of the Lord's majesty is more prominent in the servants. Identification as relatives, as children of Krishna, is more prominent in the minds of the Lalyas. This means these persons here are called Lalyas, the people who are younger or the people who are his children. Whereas in Dasya, the other Dasya, which was the Sambrahma Priti, with awe and reverence, the servants, it is, let's say, the identification as being servants only, and the majesty is very prominent. Though awareness of Krishna as the Lord is absent in the servants and Raja, they are aware that he has power since he is the son of the cowherd leader. So we saw that there was intimate cowherd boys like Raktaka who were considered servants. So they don't see the Krishna as the Lord, but nevertheless respect him as having some powers as the son of the cowherd leader. So there's a little reverence for him because of the position of Nanda Maharaj as head of the cowherd. So he's that prince, so to speak, so they respect him in that way. Not because he's Supreme Lord. The Udipanas for Gaurava Priti Bhaktas are such things as the Lord's glance mixed with affection and smiling. Just as children will see the father and they appreciate the affection of the father and the smiling, so these children also are in this way. Anubhavas. These are the actions. Sitting on the seat lower than Krishna's, following after Krishna, following his order and giving up their own wishes are the Sita Anubhavas of the Lalyas, like the children of Krishna. So they sit near Krishna but on a lower seat. They follow him. They follow his orders just like children in this world. Sattvika Bhavas. All the Vyabhachari Bhavas described for those of Sambrahma Priti manifest in the Gaurava Priti. We saw that some are absent, like those that involve anger and fright and things like that. So similarly with the children and others, it's not present. Those things aren't present. And the Sattvika Bhavas were all present. The Sthayi Bhava. The mentality that the Lord is one's loving protector, born from the feeling one belongs to him as his son, is called Gaurava. Such priti towards the protector is called Gaurava Priti Rati. This priti becoming excellent becomes prema, When it becomes more elevated, it becomes sneha. And it becomes even more elevated, it becomes raga. So as with the servants, so with the children, they get up to this raga stage in some cases. The different definitions of yoga and the subdivisions for Grover, Priti, Prayo, and Vatsala rasa are the same as those of Sambrama, Priti, Rasa. So we have the yoga with separation before meeting and then after meeting, and then yoga first meeting, meeting after separation, and eternal meeting in the spiritual world. Similar type of terminologies are used there. Right. The wise will understand that ukantitam, viyoga, and yoga for the Gaurava Priti Rasa, which has been described very briefly, are similar to the ukantitam, viyoga, and yoga of Sambrama Priti Rasa. So ukantitam was before meeting at all, and then viyoga is separation after meeting, and then yoga is the meeting, actual meeting of different varieties. So it's similar to the Sambrama Priti Rasa, that is the servants. Okay, that covers that. Where was the last one, the yellow one here? Here we are. Okay, so now we get Prayo Bhakti Rasa or Sakya Rasa. So Sakyarati is there, and we have suitable vibhavas and other elements, so we get Prayo Bhakti Rasa or Sakya Rasa. Alambana, Krishna and his friends. Two-armed and four-armed forms of the Lord, as previously described in Priti Bhakti Rasa, are the forms of the Lord as the Alambana. That's even in Sakya, you can have four arms. The qualities of the Lord in Prayo Bhakti Rasa are dressing attractively, possessing all good qualities, being the best of the strong, being knowledgeable of many languages, being talkative, fully knowledgeable of all branches of learning, quick-witted, skillful, merciful, most courageous, learned in arts, intelligent, tolerant, attractive to all people, prosperous, jovial, and the most prominent among all persons. So these are the qualities which will attract a person in Sakya. The devotees, those whose form, qualities, and dress are similar to Krishna's, who are not restricted like the dasas because they are endowed with deep trust and familiarity, called Vishramba, in relation to the Lord, are known as Vayasyas or friends. Unlike the dasas, they are devoid of restrictions of their feelings. This is because they have Vishramba, familiarity with the Lord. Vishramba will be explained in verse 106 as intensely deep trust in and familiarity with the Lord with no restrictions. So that's the aspect of friendship. So we get city friends, that's outside of Vrindavan. Arjuna, Bhimasena, Draupadi, Sri Dhamma Brahmana are friends in the city. And we have the friends in Vraja. So these friends have a very intense relationship with Krishna, and they cannot bear separation from him. They play with him at all times, and their very life depends on Krishna. For this reason, they're considered to be the chief among all the friends. So there are friends of Krishna in Dwarka, but the chief friends are those in Vrindavan. The cowherd friends of Krishna are the same age as Krishna, with similar qualities, activities, clothing, and beauty. They are equipped with pleasing flutes, horns, and valaki leaves, and have complexions of dark blue, gold, crystal, and ruby. Always filled with love for Krishna, may they protect you. So, in Gokul, we have different types of friends. Sukrit Sakka, Priya Sakka, and Priya Narma Sakkas. 4 different types. Sukrits. Friendship mixed with the tinge of Vatsala, which means protective of Krishna. They're slightly older than Krishna and carrying weapons. They're always ready to protect Krishna from the demons. So, they're in Sakya, but they're slightly older, so therefore the friendship is mixed with protection for Krishna, like in Mother Yasoda tries to protect Krishna. So we have, these are the Sukrits. Subhadra, Mandalya Bhadra, Gobhakta, Yaksha, Indrabhakta, Bhadranga, Virabhadra, Mahaguna, Vijay, and Balabhadra are some of the Sukrits. That means Balaram, actually, Balabhadra. Mandalya Bhadra and Balaram are the best. So they're slightly elder than Krishna. Sakas. Friends who are slightly younger than Krishna, who have a touch of dasya in their relation with Krishna, are called sakas. They're younger, so therefore they look up to Krishna as their superior and they'd like to serve him. They are attached to the happiness derived from serving Krishna. Among them are Vishala, Vrishabha, Ojasvi, Devaprastha, Varutapa, Maranda, Kusamapida, Manibanda, and Karandama. Devaprastha is known as the best, so they're slightly dasya, the younger ones. And then we have Priyasakas, same age as Krishna. So this is not mixed with dasya or with vatsalya. This is pure sakya. And that's called Priyasakas. Sridama, Sudama, Dama, Vasudama, Kinkini, Stoka Krishna, Amsu, Bhadrasena, Vilasa, Pundarika, what's that? Vishanka, Kalabinka are Priya Sakas. Priya Sakas give pleasure to Krishna by hand-to-hand combat, stick fighting, and other sports, because they're equals, and they can do things like this, fight together, etc. Those who are younger probably don't get involved, because they want to serve Krishna. Among Priya Sakas, Sridama is the best, their chief. So these are equals. Then we have a very special category called the Priya Narma Sakas. Priya Narma Sakas are superior to the Sukrit Sakas and Priya Sakas and possess a very special bhava. They engage in the most confidential pastimes. That means Madhurya Rasa pastimes. So they understand Krishna's relationship with the gopis, etc. Subala, Arjuna, Gandharva, Vasanta, and Ujjvala are Priya Narma Sakas. This is an example. Old thin-waisted woman Subala is whispering information about Radha in Krishna's ear. Ujjvala is handing Shama's love letter to the lotus hand of Krishna in a solitary place. Chatur is offering betel nut given by Pali into Krishna's mouth. Kokila is putting a garland sent by Tara over Krishna's head. In this way, the Priya Narma Sakas serve Krishna. Among the Priya Narma Sakas, Subala and Ujjvala are the chief. So apart from these classifications of different types of friends, then we get also another classification, Nitya-priya or Nitya-siddhas, those who were devatas previously, and sadhana-siddhas, those who become friends through sadhana. Some steady and acting like advisors worship Krishna. Others have fickle nature and make Krishna laugh in the manner of jesters, like Madhumangala. Others with meek nature make him happy by their serious behavior. Others astonish him by crooked behavior. Other confident friends argue with him. Some peaceful, fortunate boys please Krishna with truthful, pleasing words. So we have a variety of qualities in these different types of friends. So that covered the Vibhava, that is the Krishna, and then the different types of devotees. Then the Udipanas. Udipanas for Prayo Bhakti Rasa, for Prayo Rasa or Sakya Rasa are the Lord's age, form, horn, flute, conch, sports, joking, heroism, intimate devotees, and imitating the action of kings and devatas. And they play in the forest, such as age. So, The very young age, the baby age, called Komara, is suitable for Vatsala rasa, parenthood rasa. Poganda age has 3 divisions. This is suitable for Sakya rasa. That's from age 5. Beginning, middle, and end. In the first part of Poganda age, his lips are very red, his waist is thin, and 3 lines appear on his throat like a conch. The activities of this age are herding the calves in all the forests, learning hand-to-hand combat, playing games, and dancing. We see in Bhagavatam, 10th canto, in the first part, Krishna's babyhood is described. Mother Yasoda is taking care of him, and demons try to kill him, and then Krishna kills the demons, and then Mother Yasoda is protecting him at all stages. Then he starts growing up. Then, at a certain stage, then Krishna is allowed to go into the forest with the calves. So that's and then all the cowherd boys go with it. So this is where the Sakya period starts. Generally, when it starts more or less with the Krishna and Brahma Mohana Leela, and then after that, he goes into that Sakya Poganda age. In the middle of Poganda age, the tip of his nose becomes raised, his cheeks become round, and his sides and other bodily parts become graceful. The decorations of the middle Poganda age are a turban tied with silk cords shining like lightning, and a black staff 4.5 feet long with a gold tip. The activities of the middle Poganda age are playing in Bandira forest and climbing Govardhana. In the middle of Poganda age, the Lord, engaged in playing, seems to partake of the first part of the Kaishore age because of having an astonishing form caused by his sweetness. So even in the middle of Poganda, a little bit of Kaishore beauty is coming in. At the end of Poganda age, Krishna has a long braid extending to his waist, locks of hair falling playfully, and strong shoulders. The ornaments of the late Poganda age are his tilted turban, the play lotus in his hand, and the tilak on his forehead made of saffron. The activities of the late Poganda age are wordplay, enjoying intimate conversations with Narma Sakas, that's those intimate Sakas, friends, and praising the forms of young girls of Gokula in front of his friends. The ornaments of the late Poganda age are his tilted turban, play lotus, and tilak. We already had that. Krishna's form as Udipana. This is an example. O lotus-eyed Krishna, intelligent boy, what is the use of decorating your body with ornaments? Your body pleases us friends with its own luster. So the beauty of Krishna's form is an Udipana form, this love, Sakya. What are the anubhavas of Sakya? Pleasing Krishna by hand-to-hand combat, playing ball, and playing dice, riding on each other's shoulders, stick fighting, sleeping, and sitting with Krishna on a bed, seat or swing, telling pleasing jokes, playing in the water, singing and dancing with Krishna, are all activities or anubhavas common to all types of friends. So the Sukrits were the older ones. Activities of the Sukrits, older than Krishna, are giving advice on what should be done or not done, engaging in beneficial acts, and being eager to perform all types of service. Sakas, those who are younger, putting tumble in Krishna's mouth, that's betel nut, applying his tilak, smearing sandalwood on his body, painting designs on his face, are the activities of the Sakas. The Priya Sakas, defeating Krishna in battle, these are equal age, pulling his cloth, stealing flowers and other things from his hand, being decorated by Krishna. Hand-to-hand combat are the activities of the Priya Sakas, equal age. Priya Narma Sakas, carrying messages among the young women of Vraja, encouraging the gopis' love for Krishna, taking Krishna's side when the gopis are present and Krishna is not present, showing skill at siding with the chief gopis when Krishna is present, but the gopis are not. and arguing intensely by whispering in each other's ears are the activities of the Priya Narmasakas. Decorating Krishna with forest flowers and jewel ornaments, singing and dancing in front of Krishna, caring for the cows, massaging his body, fanning him, as well as all activities, other activities or activities that the friends share in common with the dasas. Yeah. What are the Safika Bhavas? Paralysis, perspiration, hair standing on end, broken voice, tears. Of course, it said that all of the 8 will manifest, these particularly. Vyabhachari Bhavas. All the Vyabhachari Bhavas except Ogra, which means ferocity, Trasa, which means fright, and Alasya, which is laziness, are present in Praya Rasa. However, in separation from Krishna, Mada, Harsha, Garva, Nidra, and Driti do not appear. Now that's joy, pride, sleep, determination. In union with Krishna, Mriti, which is death-like symptoms, Klama, fatigue, Vyadi, sickness, Aparsmriti, epilepsy, Dinata, or feeling very low, do not appear. And this is for people in Sakya. Deep familiar trust without restriction is called Vishramba, or confidentiality. This Vishramba or Sakya Rati increases gradually through Pranaya, Prema, Sneha, and Raga. The Sakya Rati has 5 types. And then we have meeting and separation. Unkantinam, not having met Krishna, this is one type of separation. And then we have Viyoga, separation after meeting. States of separation such as Purvarag, which takes place in Madhura Rasa, or when Krishna is out herding the cows, leaving for a short time only, are relished by the sadhakas, the siddhas, and eternal associates, the gopis and Krishna, because there always remains the relationship of asraya and vishaya alambanas. But when Krishna departs from Mathura and stays away for a very long time, the pain of separation is intolerable. So short separation among all the persons in different rasas is tolerable, and say it's a type of bliss also, but when Krishna leaves for a long period of time by going to Mathura, and then that separation becomes intolerable pain for everyone. So that after separation we have meeting, and then we have the permanent meeting called sthiti, which means in the spiritual world when they never separate from Krishna ever again. So there's a little bit of a description of this in the 10th canto. Yogas may undergo severe austerities and penances for many births by practicing yama, niyama, asana, and pranayama, none of which are easily performed. Yet in due course of time, when these yogis attain the perfection of controlling the mind, they will still be unable to taste even a particle of dust from the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. What then can we describe about the great fortune of the inhabitants of Brajabhumi? These cowherd boys with whom the Supreme Personality of Godhead personally lives permanently and who see the Lord face to face. So here it says, the Supreme Lord personally lives permanently with them. So this is called sthiti, no separation at all. This Praya Rasa or Sakya Rasa, in which Krishna and the devotees partake of the sweetness of one type of love, nourishes astonishing bliss in the heart. In Priti Rasa or Dasya and Vatsalya, Krishna and the devotees' love are of different types. Dasya, Krishna is superior, devotee is inferior. Vatsalya, parent is superior, Krishna is inferior. Sakya, they're more or less equal. So this gives it a little bit of a different flavor. For this reason, those devotees devoted to Sakya Rasa understand this Sakya Rasa is the best among all. So people who have this rasa treasure it. because of the equality that's there. What is this? So we have a meeting, of course. That Sthiti was the permanent one. We have Tushti meeting Krishna after some separation, and Siddhi meeting Krishna for the first time. So the Sthayi Bhava here is when there is rati based on mutual trust between two friends as equals without respect, it is called Sakya Rati. This becomes a Sthayi Bhava. And then those two things, separation and meeting, were described. So that's Sakya, and then all things combined together it becomes Sakya Rasa. Okay, fine. I think that's it. Question? Okay. Okay.
Just quickly, on the floor when you say Krishna and Vinaya, I'm sure less of a vision with Bhakti or something, but on the floor when you...
Oh, that was because the diacritics didn't show up on the thing. There's diacritics on the little dots under the Krishna doesn't show up on the screen, so it comes out in a different, it looks like a different word, that's why it's there. Somehow the PowerPoint doesn't pick them up sometimes. Otherwise it's just Krishna.